Hey, Jason Rice here with LotParty, another episode. Again, every Monday we have new episodes on Autotainment Network. And this week, again, what LotParty is all about, if you ever worked at a dealership, you know what a LotParty is on the physical lot, where you get everybody together and you start moving those cars around on the lot to try to spruce things up, or maybe move a car that's not getting any attention to the hot spot on the lot, or maybe we got to move the trucks to the back and the cars to the front. But that's what a LotParty is at a dealership. But here on the LotParty show, it's about what we can do in our virtual world, because there's hundreds and thousands of more customers online searching for cars than there are in your physical lot. So what can we do in marketing and strategy, both in our inventory and our internet follow-up, to drive that traffic? And today I'm real excited. We've got Colin Crane here. He's actually from Carvana, and he's going to be going over kind of this new avenue that people are actually utilizing. You know, we talk about, you know, how people won't buy cars online, and maybe that, you know, the days of customers just pointing and clicking like they do on Amazon and ordering a car, can that ever happen? You know, I do struggle with it personally. I think, you know, a lot, especially on used cars, somebody's going to want to touch the car, feel it, drive it, maybe compare it and drive the Silverado, and then go drive the F-150, and then do the research themselves and gets educated on the difference of the two, and then make a purchase decision. And so, you know, what Carvana is doing with this, you know, the vending machine approach, you know, I'm kind of curious of how this works out. So, Colin, I've got you on the line here. We don't have you on video, but we got you on the phone. I want to give you a chance to give you your background to everybody, how you started a business, where you came from. I know you did some time at Auto, but go through, you know, how you started in the car business, how long ago, and the steps that you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Jason. Yeah, I like everybody, I knew growing up that I was going to be in the car business. I kind of stumbled into it like most people's story that I hear. I actually thought I was going to be a college football coach. That's what I set out to do. I did that for a very short period of time, and I started getting recruited by CarMax. I grew up in Atlanta around CarMax stores, and didn't really have any interest in going to work for them. I'd walk their lots as a 16-year-old kid, and their inventory was really kind of boring to me. Just a bunch of kind of, you know, 1 to 2 to 6-year-old cookie cutter cars, not anything that I really could see myself wanting to get involved in. The recruiter was just super persistent about me coming in and kind of learning about the company, and so finally I did that. Learned about the company. It was in a purchasing role. By the time that I left that interview, and it was a very long process for them, I loved it. I was completely bought in, wanted to figure out how to evaluate, purchase inventory, how to price cars. Worked for them for about 8 years. Worked up and down the East Coast, worked at their corporate office, opened up about 10 stores. Left them kind of as the economy started to take a dip in 2009, and started working in real stores, in the real car business. Worked as used car manager in the Southeast, also the Midwest. Was at the Walzer Automotive Group in the Midwest, managed their 12 stores, used car inventory for their 12 stores, had a group of 5 centralized buyers, a group of appraisers as well. And then that's where I came in contact with Auto, kind of my first exposure to their platform, fell in love with it, so much so that I asked the Walzers if it would be okay for me to join them. Did that, came back to Atlanta, where I'm from, worked for Auto for a couple of years, and found Carvana there. Carvana was one of my clients. Worked with them for about a year prior to joining full time. Kind of watched them go from literally selling 100 cars over their first 6 months of business to the point they are now the second largest dealer in used cars, 1 to 5-year-old used cars in Atlanta. Behind CarMax, obviously. So kind of a windy road, not the traditional path most people kind of get to the car business, but here I am.
Wow. So the Carvana part, well, one, when you're doing the working for the real dealers versus the CarMax dealers, would you say that, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You there? Okay. I thought I lost connection. So when you start working for the real dealer versus the CarMax dealer, was you do on the purchase end, or were you running kind of like the used car director, or out there buying?
Yep, yep.
mostly?
So a little bit of both. I was used car director at a Toyota store in South Georgia, Warner Robins. We had two
Mm-hmm.
lots. We had a used car only lot. So I was buying. I was desking deals. Kind of was baptized by fire a little bit there. The general manager there was a real good guy. Just believed in my experience at CarMax for some reason. That I knew a little bit more about used cars than maybe most people who look at that experience and profile and would kind of give him credit for.
Sure.
There was a lot of things I had to catch up on in terms of how to structure and desk deals, but in terms of appraising and buying inventory, I kind of knew how to do that. So I did a little bit of both in that role.
And so the CarMax really, yeah, I mean, some people, well, it's one price and they do, but I mean, that should really set you up for what the market is today really well, and especially the way that they buy cars, because they had an internal like buying process and know where cars needed to go based off of what it was and the needs. So I imagine that really helped out going into that other dealer group.
Yeah, you just get more reps. You know, I did, when I worked at the store, I would see 30 to 40 cars a day in terms of appraisals. When I was off-site buying cars, I mean, CarMax, we would go to auctions and buy 200 cars in a day. And so in terms of the amount of inventory that you would see and put your hands on, evaluate, you know, you'd get a ton of reps at that. So the guidance that they would have, you know, they've got a group of 40 analysts in Richmond that are constantly looking at kind of the most recent past for CarMax, speculating on what they think the future is going to look like, and they make really smart decisions. And a lot of, you know, I would stand next to people in lanes, and they would look at me as a CarMax buyer and say, "Man, that guy has no idea what he's doing." Well, they just didn't know what we knew about what that car would do at CarMax, and so. Definitely a different world. I learned a ton there, but also learned a bunch, you know, kind of getting into the real car business for sure.
All right, well, let's get into this Carvana approach, you know, and like I said, I'm not naive enough to know that this can work. The more and more, I'm on Amazon Prime, and there's probably a delivery truck every day to my as a matter of fact, just today we need an ink for my printer. My wife was trying to print something, it was low, and I was like, well, I just went to my phone, I went to Amazon, and I ordered some. I know it's going to take 2 days. I could leave right now and go to Walmart and pick it up, but it's just easier. We'll get it in a couple days and we're done. So I'm not naive enough to know that people eventually won't get comfortable enough to, especially the more and more people are doing stuff like this. You know, I have no problem buying books and what other products online, but how is that working? You guys talk about you're already second. Now, give the audience here maybe the basis behind Carvana. And again, we talk about a vending machine, but how does it really work in a nutshell?
Yeah, so it is exactly what you just described. You know, and most people who initially uncover Carvana do it in the same way they uncover any other dealership today. So you know the used car shopping process for most people starts online. They do a ton of research, you know, depending on what study you look at, 12 to 17 hours. And they're narrowing their focus from kind of a segment of car and price point to a very specific couple make models. And then they find the car that gives them the best value proposition. And then they find out where the car is located. Sometimes they end up finding it at Carvana. And then they figure out, wow, I've got the car that I want at the price that I want, and they're going to deliver it to me. Or I can come pick it up in two markets today at a vending machine location. So it's the combination of, man, I've already found this car. It's really well priced. You know, we kind of use some internal analytics as well as stuff that you know, Auto kind of helps provide. And then we're going to deliver the car to them, or they can come pick it up. And then, you know, there are very early on. There were a lot of people, and as we launch into new markets, I'm in Miami today. We launched Miami last week. There are definitely people who find out about it and want to know, is this a real thing? For those people, you can go on our website. We've got over 1,200 reviews from customers that average rating is about 4.9. So I think that, like anything today, if you're going to a new restaurant, if you're going to, you know, buy a pair of shoes, anything, reviews are super powerful to be able to tell that story for you. And so that's what happens. You know, people do the normal used car shopping process that they do every day. They find us, they find our site, And then from that point on, you can do everything. I mean, we've kind of got some ads out there that says you can buy a car in 11 minutes on our site. We've had that happen. We've had people buy a car and then call us back and say, hey, wait a minute, did I just really buy a car? And it's a really easy process from vehicle selection to financing to warranty. You can do everything right there, including schedule of delivery.
Now, I'm amazed that, when I first found that site, looking at just the photos, you guys doing the 360, can pop the hood, can open the doors, go inside in 360. And I know there's some tools out there, dealers can kind of do that themselves right now, but it's just phenomenal of, just the picture quality. I talk to dealers a lot about, upping that game. I've been in a lot of dealerships, and you probably too, when you're traveling with Viato, and I'd go in a dealership and they're showing me their new floor plan for their new facility or their new building or their upgrade. And I said, oh, really, where's your studio? And they're like, oh, we're not doing a studio. And I'm like, how are you not doing a studio? And, to me, it's just, if dealers want gross, I think that's one aspect of it. When you look at your guys' photos compared to maybe somebody that's doing it at the back of their lot by the trash can, and you're asking $500 more, just the quality of the photos and the presentation of it, I'd be tempted more to go to you first. And maybe I'm going to try to work you down to that $500 difference. But I mean, I think, again, what you guys do is phenomenal with that studio and stuff. And how much work does that take to get a car like that done, or get a car done like that?
It takes a lot of work. I think, we're getting more efficient at it every day. I think we could probably get 50 through the photo booth in a day. And right now, it's similar to, there's a couple places in the kind of used car world where there's reconditioning that feels like a manufacturing plant. There's CarMax, there's Drive Time. We're trying to do similar stuff like that. AutoNation has some places that do similar things. I think that's kind of, that's the process that we're getting dialed in there. And I don't disagree with your point about even if it's not the conscious decision from a customer to pay more based on pictures, you can definitely, for dealers that negotiate still, if you point out everything about the car, there's no reason why a little nick or a scratch or any imperfection on that car should cost you to give up more gross when they actually finally come into the store. You've already shown them everything about it. And so at the very least, you can hold on to that price.
Yeah. Now you guys have, and then we kind of go another angle now, then if somebody purchases that car, they feel comfortable, confident based on the photos and stuff, maybe to buy that car, maybe reserve it, right? To go to let's break down that process. So I see a car and I do want to test drive it. Do I reserve it? And then from my understanding, the vending machine, you guys would park it in a garage type thing, and I'd swipe my credit card to open the garage to then drive it and test drive it. Is that right? Is that how that works?
So it's slightly different. So we don't, you buy it. So there are you don't reserve it. You go through the entire process. So anybody who's coming to a place to pick up a vending machine to pick up a car from us has already purchased it. We do offer a 7-day return policy. So no questions asked. You can deny it at time of delivery, or 7 days later you can say, yeah, this isn't the car for me. That doesn't happen all that frequently, but you have the option to do it. And that includes like getting it to a mechanic, getting a third-party inspection, do all the things that you would normally want to do to have that peace of mind. But yeah, once we've delivered the car, I mean, you purchased that car first.
All right. Well, let's dig into the dirty on that part then. So let's assume I go ahead and made the commitment. I'm getting the car. I pull it out, and I decide to take it to my shop. My shop says, well, they really need to do this, this, and this. Do I have the ability to come back to you, just turn it in? Or if I tell you, hey, they're telling me it's this, and it's another $600, I don't want the car. Do you guys then maybe meet the customer halfway or try to fix that problem and say, would you keep it if we fix that problem, or you just take it back? What are those steps?
Yeah. I mean, if you took it to a third-party inspection, so we, similar to every very good operator in the country, we do a 150-point inspection. I'm sure those inspections will get up to 200 and 300 points at some point if we're not careful, but we do a real thorough inspection. We offer a 100-day, 4,000-mile warranty. We do all the normal things that really good dealerships do. But yeah, I mean, we say, like, if you want to go get it inspected, absolutely do that. If someone says, yeah, I took my Lexus to this Lexus dealer and they said in their used car inspection, this is a problem, what we would most likely do is bring it back and say, hey, let our shop look at it again. Just, number one, learning opportunity for the technician and the group that worked on that car to get it right. But two, it's also, it's better for us to pay ourselves and have that work done, but we'll absolutely get that work done. You can go back and take it. We'll pay for the inspection. You don't have to pay for that. But most likely we're not going to negotiate. We're not going to, in some rare cases, we will just pay for it. If you've driven away 500 miles or whatever, you've flown into us, which happens occasionally. You've flown into Atlanta, picked up the car, and driven back to Oklahoma. Then we're not gonna ship that car back. We're gonna make the most sound financial decision and probably just fix that for you.
Okay. Now then, do you guys have an internal shop yourself then, or is that stuff outsourced, or how do you guys do that with recon?
Yes, no, we do. So we have, similar to a CarMax, we've got a big shop, actually 3 of them regionally that produce cars for us.
Okay. And so again, the key is to kind of let the customers do everything at one. You got a 7-day return policy. You would also deliver it, right? Is that at a fee, or is that for delivery?
In 13 markets right now, within a 100-mile radius, you can get a car delivered to you for free.
All right. And then financing, you help line that up for them, or is there certain suggestions on the financing in that you guys?
Yeah, so we have partnerships with credit unions where we will not we won't fight for that finance deal. People can pay, through our site, through any third-party company. We'll just call and verify the funds. You can pay cash, or we have our own relationship with the bank. If you go to our website right now, you can do everything: apply for financing, get the car, and get it delivered, all through us. It's not and it'll be seamless. It will not be, okay, send in your credit information, we'll contact the bank, we'll broker the deal, we'll get it back to you. It happens instantaneous. Where you apply for credit, we'll show you on every car in the inventory what your monthly payment is and how much down you need to have. That goes from the $80,000 Tesla to the $10,000 smart car, all the way across the board. Obviously, the down payment on the Tesla is going to be a bit more, but once you get approved, you're going to get approved for every car.
Nice. So let's say a typical store, how's the growth? I mean, like you said, your first location, did it go from selling 20 a month to now doing 150 a month, or what's that kind of growth as far as the market accepting something like this?
Yeah, so in Atlanta's like the best example for us. It's kind of a typical story of what a CarMax would do. So CarMax, anytime they open up a store, they tell all the people that show up to their grand openings and to their investors that at maturity they're gonna expect that store to sell 400 to 500 used cars. So not very different from what we will be able to tell people. The difference really is our ramp happens faster, and I think it's purely a product of, when I was at CarMax, when I worked at their corporate office in like the early 2000s. So when I was there, everybody would say, man, best advertising is word of mouth. I'm sure that every dealership feels the same way. A nice referral is the best kind of customer to have. The difference is in the 90s and in the 2000s, word of mouth was literally that, right? You would come to work, you would tell your buddies. That reach isn't that big, right? 10, 15 people maybe. Today, word of mouth is viral. Through social media. Sure. We had Barrett Salee. I mean, name dropping on your show, but he's a writer for the Bleacher Report. Came in, bought a car, tweets about it, 30, 40,000 followers. All of a sudden, there's like this firestorm of conversation happening all across the Southeast in markets that we're not even around in. And that has kind of continued since he's bought that car, where people will tweet him and ask him, hey, where was that place that you bought that car at? We benefit now from a time where each individual customer interaction kind of explodes. And so our ramp will be faster in each of the markets that we enter into based on that.
All right. And so, I guess even a bad situation or somebody bringing a car back could be a good thing for you, because again, even if they talk to their friends, they go, yeah, I bought it, but you know what, I really didn't like it. And I just took it right back. And I think somebody hearing that might be more comfortable to take the risk too of going ahead and do it, knowing that, well, my buddy bought it and it should be okay. If I don't like it, I could take it back. So I'd imagine even not so much a bad experience, but somebody not really caring about the car and wanting to get something else could turn into a good thing too. The fact that if it is as easy as turning it back as you say it is, that would give somebody else, maybe their friend, confidence to go ahead and try it themselves too. You run into any of those situations?
Absolutely. We had those exact reviews on our site, and it just tells the complete story. It's not going to work for everybody, and I will say, when I consulted through Viata with Carvana, I had a very narrow opinion of who this would work for. Right? It's millennial, it's a younger crowd, very tech savvy people. It's everybody. Everybody who's in the market shopping for a used car starts online. And that gives us an opportunity to get in front of everybody. The only, as long as we have a good, diverse, well-priced inventory, sky's the limit, man. I mean, it's not as narrow a focus. And I will say, while the overwhelming majority of the public isn't clamoring for, I just want to buy my car only online. With as big as the market is, even the slightest sliver of market share in each city are huge numbers. You look at CarMax, they'll sell 750,000 cars probably this year, and that's going to be 1.5% to 2% of the overall used car market. I'll take those numbers. I'll take 2%.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to share something, and I'll let you go. We just leased a Honda Odyssey from my wife here in Olathe, Kansas. Okay, so we're not in some Silicon Valley or anything. And we go in to lease this car. Now, I happen to, they walk me into the F&I office. Well, as soon as they open the door, and I'm actually showing a picture here in the video of what I walked into, and it was a virtual F&I guy. There was 2 screens. There's a guy on one of the screens, all the printer and stuff sitting there, and there's some paperwork on the desk. And he starts talking to me, and he asked me to grab some paper off a printer that he just printed up and sit down. I had hand signed stuff. He started going through presentation on a pad and also on the screen of maybe some added value stuff that I could purchase, tire protection and so forth. And then we went through the contract, both on the visual pad and on the physical one. And then he had me put that contract in the printer. It started printing up. I signed it, basically scanned some stuff to him for him, and folded it up and dropped it in a box, and we did everything virtually there. So, and like I said, we're in Olathe, Kansas. I was so surprised by it. I was so drawn back by that. I didn't mind it, but to me, it was a mental block in my head going, oh my gosh, what can this is weird. What's this going to do to the industry? If I was an F&I guy, do I need to worry about this? And so to me, it was ticking through my head. I have talked to some people who said they could be uncomfortable with it, but a model like what you guys are doing, a model like that, I mean, I could see that just, filtering its way into the industry and eventually, becomes somewhat of the norm. And, like I said, it sounds like you guys are doing a great job in growing this. Doesn't seem like it's slowing down though at all, is it? You guys are saying you're growing at that type of pace.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and that's a really cool, it's a really cool personal kind of story. It's interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be so many innovations, man. I mean, you think about the time that we're living in today. It's pretty freaking amazing, man, to know that there were 400,000 people that ordered Teslas sight unseen with, having to put $1,000 down, real money, sight unseen, knowing they're not going to get their car for a year probably. Technology is changing things really, really quickly. I mean, I'm not that old of a guy, but I had a pager in high school. I got my first cell phone in college. And now, my 11-year-old has a cell phone and texts me as soon as he gets out of school. It's like so much more advanced at buying things online than I ever will be. Technology changes things quickly, and I love to hear stories like that of dealers out there doing really cool things to kind of stay ahead of it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story and the experience you guys are having there at Carvana. Again, just to give an experience of what dealerships, what this industry is going to. And if you miss these growths and these swings in the market, you could ultimately end up working yourself out of the job essentially, or dealership. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed this interview. Thanks, Colin.
You got it. Thanks, man. See you, Jason.
Thanks. Hey, Thank you very much for listening or watching that interview there. And again, like Colin said, I mean, they're growing, and I don't think this type of model is disappearing. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. And as a dealer, just at a normal store, you really kind of have the ability to do what they're doing. You know, maybe not at their level with this vending machine type of technology, but you have the ability to allow customers to buy cars directly online. There's plenty of products and companies out there allow you to do that. You will be able to, you know, allow people to pick up a car in your lot pretty much without being bugged if they've already done everything. Maybe do a delivery if they wanted to. You can have a return policy too. And you can have a studio like they do. There's companies out there that build a studio, do the 360 interior, exterior photos, and allow you to help you do that too. So you can do a lot of this stuff, because if this grows and they get in one of your markets, you're going to have to start doing things a little bit differently at your lot. And again, I don't think it's going away. It's just one of those fades, no different than mobile now, and how people are transitioning from the internet, from walking the lots to the internet to their mobile. You know, people can go from, like I said, I buy stuff online all the time, from, you know, being comfortable buying books and other products online to, you know what, buying that next car. So I think it was a great interview, and I think it's some insight of what's coming in the industry. And speaking of what's coming, and here at LotParty, every Monday new episodes. I got Tommy Gibbs in the pipeline. I got Ed French. Both of these guys are some of the best used car consultants out there. We're going to pick their brains on what to drive inventory, how to get that inventory turning. So stay tuned. Again, every Monday, new episodes, LotParty, autotainmentnetwork.com, or you can go directly at lotparty.net. We're actually a podcast. We're now on iTunes, so check it out. Just Google Jason Rice, or go into iTunes, look for Jason Rice, or look for LotParty Show on iTunes, and even on SoundCloud, or go to our site at lotpop.com. We have all the podcasts and articles there, and I hope you found this show enjoyable. See you next week.